Today I come to you with a highly requested video. The difference between flux-core welding with a backing strip and flux-core welding open root. So the difference between the both is, one is you're going to be seeing more on a shop steel fabrication type when they're doing a lot of heavy steel, so it's more forgiveness. You can actually burn more without having the problem or burning through. So you can stack more beads, just make the process a lot easier. Both of them still can pass codes, but one you're going to see more on a structural base, and the other one you're going to see more on a pipe base, where you're slamming it together or you're putting a hair gap in. Now, they have two different ways they can do this. If it's in the pipe field, there may have a 16th opening, and the goal for it is you don't have to shoot the wire right at the sides. Like, you'll start at the bottom and you'll have to make a little bridge, and then you'll kind of slightly kind of weave to keep from burning through. But you have to go through this process a lot faster because it'll have an open root. This one right here is actually slammed together. So I'm gonna bring this one in some. I'm outside right now, so you'll probably hear the noise of the airplanes, but this is slammed together. Now, if it was on a pipe situation, you'll normally have a landing on here about probably like a quarter, not a quarter landing, but a dime to a nickel landing on this. I would prefer a nickel. I like to have a little more thicker landing with my 1/8 inch opening. But normally in the structural field, they'll just have you have a knife edge and slam it together, and that way you can burn this right here. Normally you're going to use at least no less than 250 amps on this right here. You know what I mean? Between 24 to 26 amps. This is a 1-inch coupon too, by the way. So normally it'll be on thicker material. I have seen them use it on 3/8, but normally when you're running something like that to absorb some of that heat, it's going to be a thicker material. Now here is one with a backing strip. I wanted you to see this up close. And it has a 3/16 opening. So you have plenty of room to make sure you're tying into these edges. And normally the edges on here are going to be knife edge. So you want to make sure you're tying in, and you want to make sure your backing strip is touching this. Make sure you don't want no gaps in this, because then you're going to have lack of fusion, lack of penetration. So you want to normally put 3 little tacks over here, maybe 1/2 inch to 1 inch, and then 1/2 inch to 1 inch tacks on the other side. And make sure you have something you can run off on and run off of. That's very important, to start on your runoff tab and end on your runoff tab. Like I say, normally you're going to see joints like this, and if you're doing a lot of heavy steel fabrication, like plants like Lexicon and Custom Metals, you'll see a lot of times they'll have where they'll even have the open root with the backing strip on the joint, or they'll have it slammed together where they'll gouge out the other side. They do a lot of gouging, so they'll have you slam this together and then gouge out the other side, so you don't want to burn through. So the main thing you have to learn with this process on how to master this is your travel speed, your heat, and your penetration. So you want to make sure you're getting proper penetration, so you're going to have to watch the full process of the weld. You just can't be just staring at something and missing something else. It's just like driving. You know, every now and then you'll look in the rear view on the side, but you're really focusing on the bigger picture at hand. So you want to make sure you're doing that as well when you're taking these tests. So always take your time, and don't just try to pass the test. Study the process, so that way when you get ready to leave school, or you get ready to leave that classroom or that booth, you can duplicate this process easy no matter where you go, fam. I always say it's better to be certified in something. It's better to be qualified in something than to be certified. Certified could just be on a piece of paper, fam, and you can get it and lose it. But when you qualified, you can take it anywhere you go, fam. Anywhere you go. Flux-core welding is a door opener. I will say this is one of the easier processes to learn, in my personal opinion. You can really get this process faster. I would say between a 6 to an 8 week setting, you can really get this process in all positions. Flat, vertical, overhead, and vertical. I really think that you can really do this process in a nice standpoint, in a nice time period without having to spend a whole lot of time on it. But I will say this, you're going to get better and better the more you do it, the more you practice on it. So don't just try to finish it. Make sure you know the full process, know what you're doing wrong, because if you don't, like if you like to weave and you're not hesitating, you're going to not have fusion on one side. So if you're going to be doing something and you know you got the weave to tie in, practice that process. So that way your brain can understand it. Because I done seen people start a process and they're just going straight up and down, and they get ready to take the test. They want to switch it up and do something different, and you're not comfortable with that process, and normally you're going to make a mistake. So if you're starting something and you're learning the process and you're mastering it, stick with that even when you're testing. Stick with it. Don't switch it up. Stick with it. So learn it the right way, be comfortable. And the main difference between the two, one you're going to typically see on pipe. I have did piping where we had a dime landing or a nickel landing, and we was doing the flux-core penetration, and then we stick welded all the way out. You know what I'm saying? I done seen, or MIG, I done seen both, you know what I mean? I done did some MIG roots with some posts. So when it comes to open root, it's a big thing for factories and piping in the industrial field. And when it comes to backing strips and on thicker pieces of metal, you're looking at heavy steel fabrication, big plants that do a lot of steel fabrication, or building of beams, columns, things like that, bridge work, stuff like that. So like I say, it's money in both. You can make good money in both fields. One of them you might be out in the elements, out there doing it, and another one you might be in the shop. So you know, it's good money in both. It just depends on if you like to be outside or inside. You can turn this from regular welding and fabrication to being a lead, being a foreman. There's so many ways you can transfer this over, but you wanna know the process, and you want to take your time and actually learn the full process. Don't rush it, fam. Don't rush it. So the main thing I would say when you're learning flux-core, door shield, is to remember to always make sure your gas is on. Make sure you got a proper gas flow, anywhere from 22 to 33 pounds on your gas. Make sure your amperage and you make sure your grounds is set up. Make sure everything is set up properly before you start. Do a couple dry runs. That way you know what's going on before you dive into the process, just in case you forgot something and something ain't right. Don't just dive into it and think you got it and something was wrong. You hate to try to fix something, and some testers don't allow you to fix something. Like certain flux-core testers, you can't take a grinder out and fix it. If you mess up, you mess up. So it's something to keep in mind. So for my students that's also doing flux-core without gas, let me throw this in. One of the main difference for flux-core without gas is you have to manipulate it. So flux-core door shield, we know that we can just run it like a 7018 rod. We can just drag it. But when you're doing the flux-core without gas, you have to kind of manipulate it like the 6010 rod. You whipping it or doing a circular motion or a zigzag, something, or a diamond shape, some type of pattern to get the weld to look right. Now, to me, both processes are greatly used right now in the construction field, and it's real easy process, but a lot of people don't like it because it looks a little dirty, kind of like a stick rod. But you can make excellent welds, you can do excellent work with it. But the main thing I would say for those who want tips on that, manipulate it. Try doing circular motions or back and forward and pausing and making sure your amperage. And remember, when you're doing flux-core without gas on your small equipment, flip the polarity on it. You're gonna have to change it for it to work right. So if you're just putting it in and trying to run it like you did on your regular MIG, it's not gonna work right on your smaller equipment. You're gonna have to flip the polarity on it. Some machines have a switch, some of them you have to change the look from positive to negative. So just keep that in mind, fam. Right now I'm in my hometown of McGee, Arkansas. This is the Hog On University, fam. Coming soon, I will be networking with Arkansas Baptist College. We are bringing a welding program there, and our goal is to really help the area. So stay in tune, keep liking, following, and sharing the channel of Your Welding Coach. I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, and I'm on YouTube. And also for those who try to get some Hog On gear, All you have to do is visit Amazon Prime and put in Hog on Welding t-shirts, hoodies, long sleeve, and it's about to be hoodie season, fam. So get you some hoodies, get your Hog on with me. Be blessed, continues to prosper. I'm out.